What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Soul Hoops podcast. My name is Jeffrey, and I'm joined with Ryan today. No Matthias, he is MIA right now, but hopefully we can get a hold of him somehow, and he'll join us
We'll
in a
see.
little bit here. But today we're going to be taking a look around the league, just talking about, we're a few weeks in now, starting to see some trends that we may like or dislike. So we're going to just be talking about some teams going through what we're going to call the NBA stock market. We're going to be seeing if we are going to be buying or selling the current trend of these NBA teams that we want to talk about. So before we do that, Ryan, how are you doing this week? How are you doing at all?
I'm doing good. I have watched a lot of basketball,
That's good.
and it's been great because the week before that I was kind of lacking a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
um, things are getting exciting. Like you said, we're starting to see trends with teams. We're starting to get a better idea of who's legit and who's not. Um, so I'm just super excited. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Same. I've been trying to catch games. I've been very busy. I've been traveling a little bit away
Yeah.
from home, so more box score and following up with people that I follow on Twitter about games that are going on and
Yep.
catching games, quarters, and stuff like that. But trying to watch full games whenever I can. I've been watching a few of the recaps of some of the teams that I want to watch. League Pass 30-minute recap is honestly the greatest thing ever invented, I think.
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's so nice.
just being able to log on the next morning and just go through all just the first half I want or whatever, and just like it only takes me like 15-20 minutes, and you still get pretty much everything because they play the whole possession out. Like it's not just the shot or the
Yeah.
assist, like they bring up everything. So that's nice, and it allows you to see highlights, but also the bad plays as well.
Yeah, it's important to have that because like on a night where I have no other plans, um, I'm usually watching 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not the kind of person who like will have the league pass 4 box set up on one screen and have another 4 box set up on another screen.
Yeah,
I just can't do that. I need to be focusing on really one game at a time, maybe two,
and then a
depending
side
on
game
what's on.
that's like
Yeah,
checking it. Yeah.
yeah. Like if a marquee matchup is going on, um, and then maybe like a fun league pass matchup I'll have on the other screen, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm really only watching 2 or 3 games. So if I find out that I missed something or I want to go back and watch film, like the league pass recap is super nice. Or like if you just want to watch all possessions too, where it's just like
Yes.
you see everything, it's super nice. So
Yeah. And plus you can scroll through it really easily,
yeah,
and like kind of see what's going on. You can just use the timestamps, obviously. But yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know. Like I feel like people who have like 8 games on at once are just like lying to themselves that they're even watching that
it's
because
way too hard to do. Yeah.
like I feel like football is a sport that you might be able to do that because it's a little bit slower pace, like it's just possession, than a
Mhm.
different possession. Like basketball, it's like literally nonstop until there's a timeout or like a stop ball. It's not like you
Yeah.
can really have time to like look around everything. So I usually
Yeah.
do the same thing. If there's like a national TV game on that I actually care about, national TV game on, and then 2 to 3 games, probably pick like one fun game, one game that I'm like invested in of something, and then one game that I can watch if everything else is on commercials, but just like have minimized in the corner.
Yeah.
But before we get into the things that we got on, make sure that everybody leaves a like, comments, subscribes,
Yes, please.
all of that good stuff before we get started on the rest of the video. But do you want to just go right into teams, or do you want to talk about any individual things? I feel like one thing that I actually want to talk about was some of these award races, because now we're at the point where people are starting to kind of get situated in what they want to talk about with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most interesting ones right now is like the MVP, because
Hmm.
I don't think anyone has been a clear-cut dominant force so far,
Hmm.
and I don't think anyone has separated themselves in like 3 weeks in now.
Right.
So I just think it's interesting because I feel like last year it was like Jokic, Embiid, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Embiid. Like that's what I felt
Yeah,
like it
it
was.
like like what we were. I kind of said this when we were doing our our award prediction episode, where I don't think there's going to be a clear cut favorite, um, at least for the first like probably handful of months, just
Yeah.
because I just didn't see it. Like last year, you could kind of see like, okay, Embiid hasn't won it yet, and because Jokic has won two, it could be his chance. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think there is that this year. So far, if you just ask me personally, I think the two leading guys are probably Embiid and Jokic again.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
just been
Luca.
or Luca. Yeah, I think Luca's also got off to a great start,
I think
but
those are the top three.
yeah, um, I don't think Tatum is quite there just because like the opponents he's faced have just not been very
And the
good.
two games where they were in really close games, the last two games, he kind of had a meltdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he did not play well against the Wolves at all,
Yeah.
or the Sixers. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But um, yeah, I think MVP is just kind of what it is at this point. I am a little like, do you remember when the MVP used to be like a really exciting thing to talk about?
Yeah.
It's kind of not really like that
Yeah.
like anymore. I hope that changes, but
I feel like it's like that for a lot of awards. I feel like a
yeah,
lot of the awards got a little bit ruined over the last few years with how open people are to being having their opinions swayed by certain media members. I feel like everybody obviously thinks about basketball and values different things. Every single person will not value the same thing. No two people are
right.
going to think the same way about a basketball game. All right. Well, we are joined by Matthias now. He is officially was able to get in. So, but regaining what we were talking about here about the MVP and what I was saying about the media, I feel like people have been a little bit too latched on to the decisions of media members and what they talk about with the media. Like last year with the Embiid and Jokic thing, with like the Kendrick Perkins like race stuff,
Yeah.
like that swayed so many people's view of what was going on in that like whole conversation.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like the MVP conversation just isn't that fun anymore. Like I remember when it was like Westbrook or Harden, and that was like a fun thing to think about. Or
Yeah,
when it was Giannis or LeBron for that one year, how that was like a real debate, if you ask me.
yeah,
Or Harden and Giannis, like
Yeah, the Giannis Harden one was fun. Like
that
you
was
had
super
the
fun.
that's where
Yeah,
run and
you
dunk
had the
man came
moment where
from.
he accidentally passed it into Harden's face,
Yeah,
and then like I
yeah.
felt like it even made it better.
That
that season's where the run and dunk man thing came from, because Harden was like,
Yeah,
I wish I was 7 feet tall and I could just run and dunk the ball. And then like it
yeah,
was like ever since Harden said that, it's like Harden has been on 4 teams, not made a conference finals, and it's
oh
like
that was
yeah,
the beginning to
Giannis
the
is a
end.
2 times
Beginning
MVP
to
and a
the end.
finals MVP.
Yeah.
oh
Um, but like, yeah, I think MVP is just kind of what it is. I'm really hoping that like there is someone who kind of like a new younger guy that kind of like breaks out
Yeah,
pretty soon here and enters into the conversation. Um, obviously my guy Anthony Edwards.
yeah,
I hope it could be him or Donovan Mitchell has been like insane this year too.
yeah.
The
Except they suck right
the
now.
Cavs record hasn't really
Yeah,
been up to par for him to be in that conversation, but they start winning some games. Donovan Mitchell, I think he could easily find himself in that top three, especially if the Mavericks start to kind of slow down a little bit, which I predict they will.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of clutch time games for them, which is usually not sustainable, especially when you don't have infrastructure that's high end infrastructure around them.
yeah, and it's not like their wins have come against a lot of great teams either. Their
Yeah,
wins have been clutch time wins against inferior teams, if you ask me. So
I agree. Yeah.
we'll see what happens with them. Um, but what other award races
I
have
think
been
I think Depoy is
interesting?
going to be fun
Yeah,
because I tweeted it couple days yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I said when Rudy Gobert wins his fourth Depoy this season, people are not going to like that very much.
no,
yeah,
And people are like, "No way, he deserves." And I'm like, dude.
It's
I
not
don't know.
it's not really that close right now. Like
no, it's really not.
obviously I'm gonna say that. But like
Yeah.
it's kind of the truth. Like it's just not that close right now. Evan Mobley is probably number 2 on most ladders.
Probably. I can check the odds.
Yeah, I
The
don't.
one thing I will say though is that right now the Cavs defense as a whole is pretty mid to bad,
Yeah,
and obviously it's only been like what 7-8 games, but voters love that top 10 threshold. It's stupid as hell when we have analytics now, like especially like tracking analytics.
yep.
But voters like the top 10 like
Team defense
standard
it
defensive rating threshold.
really does matter. That's part of the reason why Bam hasn't won one or Anthony Davis hasn't won one is because like for the most part the teams they've been on in the regular season haven't really been that great of defenses. And that's voters do consider that heavily. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. won it. Obviously, he's a great defender. But like a big part of the reason he did win it was because the Memphis Grizzlies did have a good defense.
Yeah.
So,
but to be fair, a big part of that was the first couple weeks when he wasn't on the roster. They were
right.
like bottom 5.
Yeah.
So that is something. But
yeah.
I don't know. We have so many advanced tracking stats now. I feel like the defensive player of the year needs to actually go to.
You will never guess who currently the odds-on favorite is to win Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year?
Yeah.
Nick Nurse?
It's going to be Ime.
No, it's Joe Mazzulla. Favorite
why?
Right now to win Coach of the Year.
Why? I don't understand that.
No,
wait. He's just not, though. He's not the best coach.
Unless these are the old odds. These might be the old odds, though.
I honestly think, like, I don't know. Coach of the Year and MIP have kind of been all twisted up. I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but some of the awards, the way they've been voted on, and I'm sure everyone agrees with MIP, it's kind of been twisted and
they ruined that award. Yeah. Giving it to Ja Morant ruined the award, in my opinion. Like, he won Rookie of the Year and was the second overall pick. Like, of course he was going to be a superstar eventually. I thought that was so dumb.
See, I disagree with that mindset a little bit because, like, of course he's going to be a superstar. We've seen so many second overall picks just suck ass. Like, I'm going to be honest. We've seen a lot of them.
I think
it's just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think it just the thing about that is like people say like, oh, like he was expected to do that. It's kind of like you're awarding him for meeting expectations. Like,
yeah, but also like the award should go to the most improved player, not necessarily the player that jumped onto the limelight. You know what I mean?
I guess.
And it's like, for Ja Morant, I honestly think that most improved class was pretty bad.
I don't think it was great. Like, I don't think he would have won it if there was like a much better option. But I'm just saying with Ja, it's like he won Rookie of the Year, right? And then his second year, he broke out and had like 47 in the playoffs as like a 20-year-old. Like
No, he wasn't. He was already broken out.
I thought he already broke out the year before, if we're being honest. His points just went up. That's really what I think.
I like the Lowry won it last year, right?
Lowry did win it, which I think is like a great
that was a good one.
Pick.
See, but that's another guy like top lottery pick who was like a solid role player. I guess no one expected it, but it's like that's another one of those things where it's like a solidified guy who was a lottery talent that made his way onto the scene. You know what I mean? And it was like a jump to an all-star. I miss when it was a CJ McCollum most improved. Like, someone that was 11th man.
Or Pascal Siakam or
those guys. Someone that was just like an 11th man that now is like a 5th man or a 6th man on a roster. Those guys are deserving.
Like, if Cam Thomas wins it this year, that'd be the type of vibe that it would be.
I would love that.
Yeah, that dude's averaging like 28 or something. So.
Oh, right now he's leading at the clubhouse. I don't think anybody else should be in the talk for most.
I think Maxi's probably.
Maxi's been really good. Yeah, I think.
But Maxi's one of those things. It's like the same thing as like if Jordan Poole, Anthony Simons, or Tyler Hero all were like taking a step. I don't know, but those were all like exactly the great debate of already solidified young guards.
Yeah,
Cam Thomas, everyone was like he should be in the G League. He's a bum. You know what I mean? It's like that was an actual.
He doesn't play winning basketball.
Yeah, most people that call Tyrese Maxey a bum were just like blind haters.
Yeah,
that's facts.
Yeah, I think that award is just kind of like
dead.
Just like dead. It's unfortunate. Rookie of the year, I think, has kind of been what we have thought. Like it's Wemby and Chet, and then Asar Thompson, I think, is like third on most ladders.
He's been the surprise.
We were talking about him like before we started recording, but he defensively has been just a very composed and put together rookie, which you hardly ever see in the NBA. Especially for someone who didn't play college basketball or play in the G League. He played Overtime Elite, which is like obviously a respected like league in its own right, obviously. But for someone to come into the NBA from that, already being a really skilled and impactful defender, I think is quite remarkable. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done so far.
Yeah, averaging 10 rebounds a game is fucking crazy. As like a success, especially when Duran is averaging like a ton too. What is Daniel?
Yeah,
Duran's averaging 11.6.
Yeah, so that's like 2 double-digit rebounders basically in the starting lineup, which.
And Cade's a good rebounder, and Killian's a good rebounder. I actually have something to. Do you think that they're going to trade? Ivy?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I've been seeing some weird reporting about him today, saying that like,
yeah, he's not traveling with the team because of illness.
But like, people have been trying to kind of create something out of it, saying like,
yeah, that's not what I'm talking about though. Like, I just mean in general.
No, for sure.
He's barely playing. He's a number 5 overall pick from literally last year. He's barely playing. His role is only going down. And he doesn't provide value on what this team is clearly missing, which is spot up 3-point shooting.
I think the reason he isn't playing is because he isn't defending.
Yes.
I don't like Monty Williams is kind of stuck in his ways a little bit as a coach. He still kind of hangs on to the old school philosophy of lineups and rotations and all that. And I think that's ultimately why he got fired from Phoenix, is because they wanted someone a little bit, more forward thinking of the times to kind of, lead that team. And we're seeing already, like, Ivy, if you aren't going to play defense, you're just going to be playing 15 minutes a night. Or like, we're going to play 2 big men at the same time, even though most teams don't do that. We're going to do that over here in Detroit, which I don't really like that. Like, I don't know. I am not the biggest Monty Williams fan, but
I feel like you can't blame the 2 big men on Monty in this scenario, because they have like 6 centers on their roster.
Yeah,
it's like all they have. All they have is rosters to centers to play.
Ooh, you know what I need? I need a backup center. And you know who I have? I got Pat Connaughton for you, Detroit.
Pat Connaughton for who? Like Bagley or
James Wiseman?
James Wiseman.
I'm good on James Wiseman. That guy, I think he's cooked. I think it's just over.
That dude is like,
he's just not good. He's just not NBA good. He's just not good enough to be in the NBA.
Yeah. What was I saying?
The Warriors really get a pass.
We're talking about Monty.
Yeah.
We're talking about Monty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Yeah. I would say, it's just interesting to think about, because like usually when a number 5 overall pick is not playing and his role is only going down, you're usually not in a positive trend there.
What teams would be like eager to jump on the Jaden Ivey thing right now?
Depends on what his value is, I think.
But like, as far as fit goes, I mean,
Jazz,
Utah, I get that. Yeah,
the Spurs.
Toronto, I kind of think too.
Yeah.
My
thing with the Ivy fit is, it was a worry I had with them drafting him. Ivy doesn't do the little things. He doesn't play defense, like we said. He doesn't rebound, and he has an issue of playing out of control, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you have Killian Hayes on the roster that does the same stupid bullshit on offense, but actually does the small things like rebound and play make without turnovering and defend, where's Jaden Ivey going to find his minutes? Because his scoring load isn't going to cut it when you also have Cade, when you have Cade, when you have Bojan, and you have all these other pieces that are better NBA scorers. Jaden Ivey doesn't have anywhere to cut his teeth on the roster. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's the third best. He's the third or fourth best scorer, third or fourth best passer, third or fourth. I mean, he's like the 10th best defender. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not anywhere on the totem pole, which kind of sucks. But Pistons kind of pigeonholed themselves and him with this. It's bad drafting.
Yeah.
Part of me, it's hard to blame Ivy because he's just been put in a situation where it's like,
and they won't let him do like the Benedict Mathurin type thing where it's like last year the Benedict Mathurin had the same issue and they were like, we're just gonna, in training camp they noticed it. Rick Carl was like, hey, clearly you're not playing good defense right now. You are a little bit out of control and a little bit too aggressive on offense. You're gonna come off the bench for us and we're just gonna let you cook off the bench. And then that worked for him. And they don't have a role for that because he's a guard. Ivy's a guard. He doesn't have flexibility. I think it's a little bit easier to do that with a Mathurin because Mathurin's more like a 2-3 type body type, and he's bigger.
I also think it's easier. It's easier to let Mathurin do that when you actually have shooters around him. The Pistons, their spacing is like there aren't even words to describe it. Like it's just really, really bad. And I just think they're doing. Even though Cade is contributing to their bad spacing, I think in a lot of ways, I do think they're doing him a disservice a little bit. By not surrounding him with better shooters. Like I know they brought in Joe Harris. I haven't even seen what he's done this season. He barely plays. But Bojan, he's
Bojan's been hurt, correct?
Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, so
my thing with Joe Harris is Joe Harris is not a shooter that changes the scheme of a defense. Bojan is. I think he will change the defense a lot, but they only have one gravity changing shooter on their roster, which is really rare for the new NBA. Like that's just again bad roster building by the Pistons.
Yeah, I think Troy Weaver is overall a really good GM, and I think he's building a good culture over there. I just think like I don't understand how he can just like not add or look to add shooters. Like
my only guess is that he was just betting on Victor and he whiffed, and then he's like, well, and this is the year where they just put back together the missing pieces from trying to tank for Vic.
Yeah, I also think Cade's 3-point shooting is a bit of an enigma too, because like I think we can all agree that he projects to be a good shooter. But I wonder if it's going to be like the Luka Doncic kind of 3-point shooting where it's like the percentages are like he's a good shooter, but the percentages are going to be kind of bad because he takes a lot of high difficulty shots.
He'll never be an off-ball threat as a shooter. Like Cade Cunningham on a weak side catch a shoot 3, kind of like Luka. When is that ever going to happen?
Never.
It's never going to happen. And when it does, it's not going to be a threat. But he's going to take a bunch of side steps and a bunch of pull-ups off the 3-point line and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be a threat off the dribble for sure.
They have – I'm looking at the Pistons roster right now. They have Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley, all are in their top like 10 players and top like 11 players, and they're all 5s. They're all 5s.
Yeah.
Except, Bagley's more of a 4, but he's essentially a 5. The same thing. He's 6'11". Like,
yeah.
In my opinion, on this roster right now, the only 3 players that should be on the team in like 2 years should be Cade, Duren, and Asar.
Like locked in, yeah.
Yeah, like locked in. Bojan, I think, like good bet, but like at some point you got to trade him. Like he's gonna want out. He's making like good to fill the books for a
Marcus
little bit.
Sasser looks good the other day.
Yes, Sasser actually looks really good. Possibly Sasser as well. I'd want to keep. But other than that, they have a bunch of just young lottery talent that's not talent, and it's just like they have to figure out if they're gonna package it, wait for them to just like.
I'd like to see them make some moves. Personally,
wait, do they not have their pick this year?
Oh God,
I don't know.
How?
I can't keep track of teams.
When I go on like Fanspo, if you go on their like thing, it'll say like who's pick if they have their pick. I don't see their 2024, so I'm gonna look.
Just in my head though, like I can never remember because like what like
I think
did they
I know
trade
who
it
has
or
it. I think I know who has it. Let me
which team? I want to try to guess what trade it was.
It was traded to another team in the East. It's very protected though.
Blake Griffin, was it in that deal? Brooklyn? No.
Where? Did they trade up in the draft?
Yes, it's a draft day trade for a good player that Detroit took.
Duren?
Yep, it's the Duren trade to New York.
Right.
It's protected 1 through 18 though, so they will have their pick. They will have their pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was expecting like 1 through.
This is why I think it is funny though when people say like the Knicks have like 20 picks or whatever to trade. It's like, yeah, they're all like horrible though. Like they're all bad picks.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they have Dallas's protected 1 through 10. It's like, yeah, okay. And that's like Detroit protected 1 through 18. They're currently the worst team in the NBA right now outside of the Wizards. It's like, okay. They have Washington's pick today this year too, protected 1 through 12. It's not going to convey. No. He's not going to convey. But yeah. Well, do you guys want to do the NBA stock market then?
Yep.
Yeah. Before that, there have been some injuries that have happened recently that we should bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Williams III, it hurts my heart. It just does because I really like watching him, but he needs knee surgery. He will be out for the remainder of the season. The dude can just never stay healthy, and it's unfortunate because I thought he was going to be a really hot trade target for a lot of teams that need size and that need rim protection. Like I thought him going to Memphis was just inevitable. Perfect.
Yeah.
And now that isn't happening. And also at like the Blazers, I thought he could have, still been a fun piece for them in the short term.
Yeah, he was great for the very few minutes that he played for us.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Sorry, I just saw a thing. NBA teams have been sending their scouts to Bulls games because they're gathering as much information to prepare for the Bulls to sell per win or season.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the Bulls.
Checks out though.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. Yeah. Anyway, I just had to say that.
No, the Robert Williams hurts, dude. It's the Blazers' 7-foot curse. Protect DeAndre Ayton.
He came back early from that injury to play in the finals, and he played on a bad knee. And it's just been bad ever since.
Yeah, and like it's weird too because I think the knee he injured this time was the other knee. It was not the one that he's tweaked before. And I was watching the Grizzlies game as the injury happened, and it was just like a somewhat routine defensive play. I think Jaren Jackson just kind of ran into him a little bit, and you could see right away that Robert Williams was like calling for an immediate sub, like that he needed to get out of there immediately. Straight to the locker room. And I'm watching, like, I really hope something bad didn't just happen because this dude just has horrible injury luck. And, we find out that he's out for the season. Other injuries, Jamal Murray is going to be out for the month.
Mm-hmm.
The notification cut off, like, to where it says he'll be out for the remainder. And then I got worried. He's only out for the month.
Yeah.
So,
but hamstrings are so.
Yeah.
That'll be like a 3-month injury.
Yeah. I don't know how. We'll see what happens.
In terms like he'll play through it, but he'll like miss games here and then with hamstring flare-ups for like the rest of the year probably. Those don't go away.
Yeah, I think those are the only two I had that were like
Yeah, the only two big
major.
ones I remember.
Yeah, I think
no.
like Cam Thomas will be out for 2 weeks, but it's kind of a minor thing still. So,
Yeah, Fox is missing time right now too due to an ankle sprain,
yeah.
which sucks.
So
All right, well,
we can get
yeah.
into the stock market thing now.
All right, so we're going to be doing the NBA, an NBA stock market. So essentially, what it's going to be is we're just going to go through teams. I think we're just going to probably go through all the teams. We'll if we actually want to talk about something that actually intrigues us on that team, we can. If not, we'll just move on.
Yeah.
We're going to go through every team. We're going to just say I'm going to say their record. And we'll kind of say if we're going to be buying. So essentially, if we are thinking that they're going to improve, if we're going to buy at this point and think they're going to improve, or if we selling, we think they're going to continue to go down, or we could just say that we would not invest in that team at all. They're just going to be bad the whole time. So we'll start. You guys want to start in the East or the West?
East.
All right, let's start at the bottom. The Detroit Pistons, which you just talked about. So I guess we don't really have to talk about them because we just talked about them for like 10 minutes. But
yeah,
currently sitting at 2-7. They're on a 6-game losing streak. Are you buying, selling, or holding their current projection or pace?
I can't get up to watch their games. So I think that indicates like I'm not really buying anything with them right now. I'm just going to continue to look from afar.
I would say
their current pace. What would that? Their current pace is 2-7.
Continue to be a sub 500 team, like a significantly sub 500.
Yeah, they're still going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think they might get a little better with Bojan and hopefully Durant being healthy throughout the rest of the year, but still they're going to suck.
I'll say I'm gonna buy on Cade and improvement, continue to look good, but I would probably stay out of any sort of investment on the Pistons' future outlook because of the injuries, and didn't look that great when they were healthy. They just looked fun.
And even if you were gonna buy, like their ceiling is just so low for this year. Like, even if they do figure some things out, like the max they're gonna get to is like 11 or 12 anyway. So it's and that's being generous, to be honest.
All right, well then let's hop over to the Western Conference. Bottom of it is the Memphis Grizzlies sitting at 1-7. Are we buying for the future on the Grizzlies?
Yeah, I'm putting a lot of money on the Grizzlies.
I would probably say I would buy them to improve as well.
They'll improve, but I don't think they're gonna look good. Like even when Ja gets back, I don't think they have enough.
No, they don't. But I think they're at absolute rock bottom. So if I was making an investment,
like what? Yeah, it's not gonna get. It can't get any worse than it is now. So I guess I'll buy.
They're like the worst offense in the NBA, dude.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like their offense is gonna completely flip when Ja gets back. Like
they're gonna make it, dude. I put it.
No, they're not.
I put a tweet out like 2 days before the season. I was like, this Grizzlies team. I'm thinking about it. I was trying to buy into it, but I was like, this team is gonna be bad or really, really mid. I was like, no, they're gonna be like 500 without Ja. Yeah,
nope.
No, they're
the West is way too cut. The West is too cutthroat to get behind. It just is like 6 games.
Yeah, it
behind 500. Like, dude,
there's so many issues with the Grizzlies too with their offense because it's like they need a facilitator to run it. That's why they were so okay with Tyus Jones, but they don't have a facilitator. And
you've got Gilliard. That guy.
Taylor Jenkins' scheme doesn't work without a facilitator. It doesn't, like at all.
No,
he's not running any real for instance, like the Spurs run that. No.
Trade Smart? No.
You wait till Ja comes back before you trade Smart.
Do you think? Well, yeah, but what is Ja going to come back December?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll? If they still are really bad, do you think they're going to sell?
No,
I don't think they can.
This will be Marcus Smart's first year ever missing the playoffs.
But what's Smart's contract situation like?
$17 million.
No, but how many years?
2.
Yeah, you keep him. You have 1 more year. You can trade him next year.
Yeah, I feel it.
With Ja 25 games, and if they really are they're 1-7. You said?
It's a 3-year contract.
So if they're 3-22, let's say, or let's say they keep it on the same, that's about what they'd be, right?
Yeah.
1-7, they'll be about 3-22.
They've
Guys,
also lost a lot of close games.
Their one win came against the Blazers in a game where the Blazers just forgot how to shoot inexplicably for the last like 5 minutes. Like when they play a real team, they are not winning a game.
Wasn't DeAndre Ayton giving them the work? Was that the game that DeAndre Ayton gave them the work, dude?
Yes.
He had like 21 rebounds on him, I think, one of the games. One of the games. Disgusting. I can't remember if it was in the loss or the win. I'm pretty sure it
so
dominated.
Okay. Well, the next team is the Charlotte Hornets, sitting at 2-5. They're currently on a 2-game losing streak right now.
I'm buying, man. They're fun.
Yeah, they are fun. Brandon Miller's been good. LaMelo has not been great, and I think that's where you can say that there's going to be improvement.
He hasn't been great, but
he had a good game the other day.
Yeah, I project for him to kind of get back to where he usually sits at. And again, Brandon Miller has been fun. Mark Williams, I think, has been off to a pretty good start of the season, like kind of how he projected. I kind of like watching this team a little bit, like not a ton, but like if they're on against like a, and there's nothing else.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
They are the team like we were talking about earlier, where you put one game when you're doing triple box on League Pass. They're the team that you put on the bottom, and when they start to get hot, you turn on the audio and you watch it because they're
or like against the Pacers in that one game where it's like, okay, it's close. These are two,
and they're gonna just score 140 points each.
Like I'll turn this on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I would probably say I'm taking a buy on the Hornets. I thought that they were going to look better than this. I didn't know if they were going to win games, but they're losing games and they look bad, and I don't think that they will look bad the whole year.
Yeah, this will be one of those things where it's like maybe for a single season I won't buy because correct me if isn't Gordon Hayward's contract expiring
up after this year?
Yeah, so I think
and also
Brandon Miller's going to be starting by the trade deadline because Gordon Hayward's gone. They're going to be making a deal with him. In my opinion.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Like,
I can see that.
Then you run into the issue is like they'll probably lose more games, but I think LaMelo will improve. I think Brandon Miller will continue to be fun, and I think he'll show he's going to be a great rookie. So it's like you said, Jeff, like they won't continue to play bad basketball, but they might continue to suck.
Yeah,
but I think I would buy. I'm really high on LaMelo. I like Brandon Miller's game too. I think the Hornets will be good in a couple years.
Yeah,
I agree. I have it happy, and also the Miles Bridges stuff obviously derailed it again. So which we're not going to talk about him, but that just fucked them over again. All right. Back to the Western Conference. Utah Jazz 2-7, 4-game losing streak.
I don't have a lot to say about this team other than it just feels like they've lost their juice.
Yes, I agree.
Kessler hasn't been good. John Collins has had moments. I think Keontae George has been good. Guys like Taylor Hendricks hasn't really been in the game. Colin Sexton and THT have been just bricking. Laurie has been just great. He's not enough.
When we talked about him, obviously, when we're talking about about how he is just a superstar elite play finisher.
Yeah.
No matter when he gets the ball, he's going to do positive things with it if he gets the ball. And he's not a ball dominant player. And that is still happening this year. Like, I think he has been he is probably one of the best shooting big men of all time. He is insane at it. And he is just an elite slasher and shooter, and I think his playmaking hasn't looked horrible this year. I think their guard play has just been abysmal, honestly. I'm going to say that I would probably stay far away from this team. I can't really sell because I wasn't really buying into them to start the season off. So
same. I was already a bit low on them, but I just definitely I wouldn't really touch this team right now.
I'm buying.
You're
I'm
buying.
buying it. I believe in Laurie. I huge on Keontae George and Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge, I think he'll get a guard. He'll get a guard on this team. He'll get a guard or a scoring forward on this team. He'll get something on this team some way, somehow.
If they got Ivy, that'd be sick.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
I'm saying, like, look out. Like, Ainge is not afraid to just go out and get something. They have a.
He's not afraid to trade away players, like, at all. He does not care.
Exactly.
He does not care.
I think they already have such a solidified guy in Laurie, and I was high on Laurie. Like, I thought, like, we could see him take a jump in his playmaking. I think we have a little bit, but I don't know. The Jazz, I think they got a good coach. They have a good, like, core, like the way they play. I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Still, again, all these teams with the bottom half, it's so hard to buy because they're still gonna suck. But
yeah, and I think they have some pieces that they could sell off to some contenders. That'd be really cheap contracts. Like Chris Dunn's contract is $2.5 million a year.
Yeah,
for like a plus defender. Like if he was on, like, if Milwaukee could get a Chris Dunn just to be a defensive guard, like,
yeah,
that'd be awesome. And they would definitely do that for a minimum. Like, that's perfect. Or a guy like Colin Sexton. All of the guys on their team have easy to trade contracts. Like Sexton's 17 million. Like Kelly Olynyk is only 12 million. THT is 11 million. Like, I think you could be looking at another situation where, just like last year, but it's like the reverse, that they trade a bunch of guys to open up minutes for guys that they want to see later in the season. Because if you trade a guy like Chris Dunn, which I don't really know how much he's been playing, Chris Dunn, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, if you want to move him, or if you want to flip a John Collins again, like, that opened minutes up for like Bryce Sensabaugh and more minutes for Keontae George and, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
should be interesting.
All right, next team.
Now that we've said it, I love the idea of Ivy on that team. Sorry.
Washington Wizards 2-5, 1-game winning streak.
So
against their Hornets.
Run away.
Yeah,
throw it on the ground and run away.
We were Jeff and I were also talking about this before recording, how like the Wizards are like
a hilarious team.
They're awful. They're just awful.
Because like Kuzma doesn't care, Jordan Poole doesn't care.
They don't care at
There's
all.
quotes coming out every day. It's just like Jordan Poole saying it in a different way. It's like, oh yeah, I don't care anymore because I won a rig. I'm gonna go back to Washington. He's just saying it in a different way.
Like,
every day.
He's like, what do I have to do? I already won a ring. I won a finals. Who cares? He's like, I got my bag. It's time to just hoop. It's like, all right, bro.
So yeah, this is also a team that I'm just never turning on. So like, yeah, I'm not touching their stock.
I made a video about Corey Kispert and he's been good this year, so I'm winning that agenda.
There you go.
They look like they have attitude issues too. Like
they all hate each other.
The locker room is splitting already.
They all hate each other. But please free DeLon Wright, Tyus Jones. Just get him out of there, bro.
Didn't Tyus Jones just get there?
He needs to go away, bro. He needs to get out of there. They don't have a center on their roster right now, by the way. There's 0 centers active because Gafford's hurt. So they've been starting Kuzma at the 5. That was the game that Embiid had like 37. Like he had like that huge game. I'm pretty sure that was against them.
Yep, on Monday.
Yeah, 100. They scored. Kuzma. Wait, what was? Hold on. Before we move on, I want to say, yeah, he had 31, 11, and 6, and Maxey had. Wait, oh, sorry, no, he had 48, 11, and 6. Sorry,
Jesus.
So stupid. Oh my god, what a funny player. Okay. God, I just love that team though because it's just funny. Western Conference, Trailblazers 3-5, lost 2. Their top 2 guards are injured. Scoot and Anthony are injured. Shaden's
Brogdon is out as well.
Brogdon's not playing. Robert Williams is hurt. Ayton kind of looks mid. He's been getting better. Jeremy Grant thinks he's Kobe.
I still go.
Here's what I'll say about this team. Yes, they're injured, but I'm buying Shaden. Just
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
buying all of it.
Tumani
And
Kumara, throw into the Dame trade's been hooping.
yeah, he's been hooping,
I
man.
told y'all.
He's been really good.
He's been so good, dude. We've been
The Suns
so
have
bad,
that's great. It just
but
looks horrible
so
for the Suns,
good.
bro. Because Nurkic looks bad, dude. I think he looks so
Yeah.
bad.
That is one thing I was gonna say. Like Aiden looks bad, but he has like opposite issues than what I've heard in the Suns. Like his issue is like he'll get the ball in the post and just not look to score sometimes. He's only taking like 7 shots, which is very absurd. But then he's had a lot of high rebound, high effort, like good defense. He's been the anchor of a top 12 defense in the league. I've never experienced that in my life as a Blazer fan. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm happy with Aiden's play. But I mean, as a fan watching every game, I'm gonna buy just because Shaden and then Anthony is out. Like when Anthony comes back, I think we're gonna win more games. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And
I would also buy more because I was buying into those. I was buying into not the team and the standings, but the players. And I think if you're gonna buy into the players, I think it would be a good time because
that's
especially
because
I think Scoot can only get better throughout the year because he's been like
Scoot
the
can only
worst
get
point
better.
guard in the league.
That's
so far.
that's kind of my thing too. It's like for the whole team, I'm probably just not going to touch their stock. I don't really see a clear buy or sell with them, but I would definitely buy like Shaden, and Scoot too, and Kamara, who just is a winning player. It looks like so.
Yeah, dude, Kamara needs to start. My thing is Kamara needs to start. I'm selling my Jeremy Grant stock. All right, I
he's
the only way all three of these guards play together is that if Jeremy Grant leaves. There's two.
He's going to be if the Sixers can't get like a Zach LaVine, a DeRozan, something like that, they will be calling about Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
I love Jeremy. It's like I see a lot of Blazers players hating on him, having a problem. It's like he's a play ender. He's always been a play ender. I don't expect him to play make for these young guys or change his game at the age of 29, 28. Like no, but he just doesn't fit this team. So
he'd fit the Sixers.
He'd fit the Sixers amazing.
Yeah. I agree. I'm gonna probably stay away from the team as a whole improving and winning games, but I'm gonna buy it on Shaden, Scoot, and I think Ayton could be better. All right, I think this is gonna be the first hardcore sell. The Bulls 3-6 lost one. I'm selling that because I think this value of this team and where you think they are, we thought they were going to be bad. I think they've been even worse than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And they just keep getting worse game by game. Like
they've just been disgusting.
That's why.
I'm sick. I'm sick of it. Like I am just
he's sick to his stomach for the Chicago Bulls.
Like I have no attachment to this team. Like I have no reason to care, but I care. Like this is bad, dude. I don't know. I want Caruso to go to a real team. Send him to Milwaukee or Sacramento or just a team that actually has things going for them.
Yeah.
Zach and DeMar, like people like they could probably use to go to contenders too, but I also think they're like also part of the problem with the Bulls. Like I don't think they're necessarily like
they don't fit well together at all.
No,
they play the exact same way.
Like Zach, I think like you could send him to a lot of teams and he could excel, but DeMar, I don't even know what teams really would be a great fit for DeMar because I do not like DeMar's fit on the Sixers at all. Like
it's a team that the Heat probably they need ISO.
But then like the spacing with DeMar, Jimmy, and Bam would be disgusting.
Oh shit!
Their spacing is already disgusting.
I know it'd get worse.
Would you rather have? I think rather have Kyle Lowry or DeMar.
Well, you have to give Kyle Lowry in pieces for DeMar, wouldn't you?
Oh fuck!
But
let me look.
I would obviously rather have DeMar, but at this point, it's like DeMar's so.
Let's look at it. Let's look. DeMar is making $28 million. Kyle Lowry's contract is $29.6 million, and he could probably just give them a first. in a second or something.
Kyle Lowry at an unprotected first.
Okay, my connection just went crazy for like a long time, so I think I'm
good?
back now. Like
Okay.
you're okay. I couldn't hear anything, and your guys' faces were frozen, but I
Okay.
think we're back. I think we're back.
We were discussing DeMar. What teams would want DeMar?
I don't even know.
I said Miami.
Any team that gets desperate. That's what I think.
Miami.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies might get desperate.
Oh yeah, they might.
Oh,
that would be nasty.
Like
that would be
Zion.
so
Like
nasty.
Zion for some DeMar, some bullshit
They even
like
trade.
That.
You trade like
they would just send a young wing. It'd be one of those things where it's like, fuck these young guys, we need a vet to like coast. To get us through these 25 games.
They would have to go up like Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
if they did that, I would laugh. I would laugh though.
Yeah,
it would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody in the Western Conference really. I don't know who has bad contracts, unless OKC wanted to go all in.
Mm-mm.
No,
but I don't think they should. Me and Matthias were talking about it yesterday about that.
Presti has this thing where I mean this in like a really respectful way. He likes goofy players. He likes players with goofy alien-like play styles that you haven't seen. Shea, the way he moves, the way he dribbles, the way he functions, super weird. Giddey's the same way. Even J-Dub.
Yeah,
we've talked about it. We've brought up all of their young guys, weird alien-like players. They all have these super distinct characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar is just like, he doesn't fit that. There's no new age, new goofiness to him. I don't think he'd be interested at all. But I think he'd be interested more in like.
I think there'd be some teams that would be willing to take on.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either.
Anyways.
Sell. Hopefully they trade out Caruso to the Bucks. That's what we need. That's gonna feed families. Or give us Javon Carter back, please. Please
give the pod to Portland.
Yeah. It'd be I think the most interesting piece that'd be solved is where is Vucevic getting moved? Who would want him?
Memphis. I'm serious too. I think they would. They would take on Vucevic.
Oh God, the Bulls are just a funny team.
Yeah.
So sell. They're gonna only get worse. Players only meetings 1 game into the season. I'm selling all.
Oh my God! And they lose. What they lose by 20 the next game too. Yeah. Players only meeting to suck ass. It's hilarious.
Yeah. All right, next team, San Antonio Spurs, 3-5, 3-game losing streak right now. What are we saying?
Well, record-wise, sell. Player-wise, I'm buying on a couple. I'm buying on Vassell. I'm buying on Vic, and I'm buying on Branham.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'll buy on Zach Collins too. I like a lot of those guys. Please improve.
Yeah, they need a point guard, dude. Bad.
Yes.
They really do.
The equal offense thing is cool and all, but when you're not able to get the ball to fucking Victor Wembanyama consistently, it gets frustrating.
Especially in late games. You just they've been in all close games, which I think is always a positive when you're a young team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of hurts me to do it, but I'd probably sell on this team a little bit. I don't know. I don't think they're really going to improve that much. I think they're going to make you're going to see some very micro improvements. Maybe they get better at getting Wemby the ball against mismatches. And I think Sohan could, depending on how long they continue to go with this Sohan at point guard thing, I think Sohan could make improvements with his ball handling and stuff.
It's funny to watch.
I like him.
I like it too. I don't think it's been horrible, but I really think they could use a
They just need another playmaker on the floor with him. He can't be the only playmaker on the whole roster to facilitate the ball.
I just you have Trey Jones. He's there. He's already on the team. Just
see, I think Trey Jones is bad though.
I don't know. Bad. I love Sohan's. He is one of my favorite players in the NBA, but I just don't think he's a point guard. I don't love it.
I think it's also because of the Spurs scheme. For instance, Trey Jones, I was talking about with the Grizzlies earlier, Trey Jones would love playing for Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
His brother. You know what I mean? system where it's just free
I
flowing.
bet he would love
Put a
playing in that
playmaker.
Budenholzer scheme.
Budenholzer scheme.
Yeah, it's just free flowing, like just let a playmaker playmake. Like they just let Job playmake, and they just let Tyus Jones playmake. They would love that. Spurs, it's not really like that. So I feel like a lot of times Trey Jones, I feel like, is getting capped by what he is responsible for, which is kind of sucky, but he just doesn't fit.
Yeah. We'll see with this team though. They play the Timberwolves tonight at home in one of the group play games.
Oh, Rudy and Vic. What time is that at?
I think 7 p.m.
7. Oh,
7 our time, so like 5 your time.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy versus Vic, I think will be a fun matchup. Even though I don't think Rudy will really guard Vic for much of the game at all, just because that's certainly how they use Vic on offense.
These first 2 games, it might not even be worth putting on.
Think it'll be Cat or McDaniels?
I'd probably say they put Vic on McDaniels. And then what teams have been doing, which I think is a dumb idea, but teams have been putting a guy like Victor or Porzingis on McDaniels to kind of like dare him to take shots and then let that defender kind of roam and help on, other players, which I think is dumb because McDaniels can shoot and create off the dribble.
Did the Celtics start their double big lineup, Horford, Porzingis against y'all?
Yes. Derek White, because Derek White was having his kid, so he didn't play. So they actually had a weird defensive thing where they put Drew Holiday on Cat, Porzingis on McDaniels, Horford on
Missoula
Rudy,
is just an unserious
Tatum,
coach, man.
Tatum on Mike Conley, and then Jaylen Brown on Ant. And it kind of worked for a little bit, but then then when McDaniel started to make his shots, like they just realized like, oh shit, we can't actually do this.
I also was laughing during that game because Celtics fans were getting their first Drew CTE ball game of I'm going to shoot the ball every single time I touch it early in the shot clock, and I'm going to throw the ball out of bounds.
I actually just think that the Celtics fans were seeing what that team looks like against the real defense, and then they could just see how
they're not consistent offensive players.
Yeah,
at all.
The playmaking really revealed itself in that game as being like, okay, the Celtics don't have a playmaker on this team.
No way, really? That's so crazy. I couldn't.
Yeah, who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen this coming?
Who could have seen a team with no real point guard on it not being good? Playmaking,
but
yeah,
Spurs. Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Though I'm gonna say I'm gonna agree with Matthias. I'm probably selling them as a team. I think they're trending negatively that way. I would probably sell him here maybe later in the season if we see some improvement on rebuy, which I think would be a good thing to revisit this maybe in a couple months. But the players, I'm buying on Vic. He's getting more offensive opportunity, and he's fouling less, which sounds good. And then a lot of their guys have just been hooping for honestly. All right, back to the Eastern Conference. Cleveland Cavaliers at 3-5, 1-game losing streak. I'm gonna buy on the Cavs. They've been bad.
Right.
And I think they're just going to get better. I think they have a lot of stuff that they're figuring out.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this team. I'm going to buy because they're going to get better. Donovan Mitchell, I already kind of mentioned, has been off to a super hot start of the season. The rest of the team will get better. So that's just a buy for me.
Yeah, I'm buying, and I'm buying a lot. For me, I talked about it a little bit. Their defense has been bad, bottom 10 defense in the league. That's not gonna stay the same with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen on your roster. I'd chalk it up to the new wings, the new guards they have, new system. Yeah. They'll figure it out. Give them a month. This team's going to be a top 4 seed in the East. Buy some more.
I agree. Same thing I've been saying. All right, back to the Western Conference. The 11th seed there is the Los Angeles Lakers, sitting at 3-5. 3-game losing streak. Got blown up by the Rockets without AD. AD's playing, I believe.
Yeah,
I think they play tonight, right? Yeah, I think
he's questionable tonight.
Yeah, I think yes, but they think he's
usually
questionable means you're gonna play.
Yeah. I'm buying, but I don't love it. I'm buying only because I think their shooters will start to go back up to the mean a little bit. Like Gabe Vincent won't shoot this bad forever. Austin Reeves won't shoot as bad forever. I think they're going to get better.
Me too.
I still think they have a lot of issues. Like the LeBron off the floor minutes are horrible, and without AD, they just have no shot because the offense is bad, and when you don't have your defensive anchor, it's like this team just can't. They just can't play well. So I'm buying, but I don't love it. I think this team is not as good, and their depth is not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm definitely selling some of my stock.
Yeah,
because I was really high on them in the beginning.
So was I, dude. The tip-off night, I was like the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Suns. They are clearly on the same level, and then it's just been fucking horrible ever since I said that.
Yeah, like I still think it's weird. Regular season wise, I'm selling my stock for now. Like, or selling partial stock because I still think they'll be a top 6 seed. They'll be a playoff lock, probably top 4 in the West. They'll figure it out, but these issues that they have, I think, are going to be a thing all regular season. AD missing games, non-LeBron minutes. He's old. They're going to have to sit him.
Yeah.
But come playoff time, I'm buying the stock again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where it's at.
Yeah. It's just the Austin Reeves thing, which is kind of like weird for me because, like, I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to figure it out with some time and kind of get back to where he was at like over the summer and in the playoffs last year. Again, I don't feel great about it though, but that's just like one example of something that I think that will improve.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell some of my stock because I was buying a lot leading up to the season. Classic Lakers sign a bunch of role players that I think will be good, and then their ass gimmick.
Yeah,
again
happens every year.
Every year. All right, the 10 seed in the East then is the Miami Heat, sitting at 4-4. They're on a 3-game win streak right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this team.
I don't know.
I think they're going to be around 500. So
I would say I'm gonna hold.
I'm also gonna hold.
Bams look great though.
Yeah. This team is kind of a tough watch. You know,
it's ugly. It's ugly wins.
It's ugly.
Obviously,
this
is jerseys and the ugly ass court too.
It's wow. It's really bad.
Toughest. What does it say on their
FDS Arena too? Why are we tuning into Miami Heat home games? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Everyone's at the club. I would say I'm just gonna hold. I don't really know. They should be calling every team that they think is going to be selling's phone and get deals set up for if they want to.
Yeah.
They should be calling Chicago. They should be calling the Wizards to get better role players.
Yeah,
like all of these
I think for them, it's the role players. I also we should talk about Tyler Hero a little bit. He's been really good.
He had like 30.
Definitely came in with a chip on his shoulder. Looked like he's made some improvements, but spacing is bad. They just let all of their key role players go. I don't know.
I don't know. That really didn't make much sense to me, honestly, with a lot of the guys that they let just walk because, like Max Strus got a pretty decent bag, so I kind of understand that. But like Gabe Vincent didn't really sign for that much, and it's like signing those guys back would not have impacted your ability to trade for a Dame if that was your goal.
No,
those contracts were already on the roster, so I don't know. All right, let's go back to the West. 10 seed is the Clippers at 3-4. They're on a 3-game losing streak since trading for James Harden.
Heavy buy. They'll figure it out.
I'm buying. I'm buying on the downswing of the chart as well.
I'm holding. I just don't know. I like the Harden thing. The immediate returns have been less than ideal. But they've got this team is really talented. They've got a lot of stars in this team, and I think they're going to be able to improve and play better as a group. But I wouldn't feel great about buying necessarily because I had more faith in this team before they traded for Harden, honestly. So I'm just going to hold.
I can't
Holding's not a bad decision at all.
I'm an aggressive investor, as they do
Yeah.
say in my classes. You know, gotta be a little bit
I
aggressive
think
on some of
we
these.
talked about it a bit with the Clippers, though. This is like kind of the last hurrah. Maybe one more year, but other than that, they got to sell
I agree.
as a
Yeah.
team at some point.
Yep. All right. Eastern Conference. Raptors. They're 4-4. They're on a 2-game win streak right now.
Low key, I'm buying. Low key though, I'm gonna buy.
I'm gonna buy as well. Scotty Barnes. I'm on the Scotty Barnes
Point.
wave.
I said it. I said it all off season when we were talking. Point Scotty was going.
Yep.
Was going to work. I said it, and I'm standing by
Yeah.
that. And it has been amazing. He looks comfortable with the ball in his hands. He is playmaking well. He is shooting better because he's not. He's. There's certain players where their catch and shoot is just not good. There's not good catch and shoot players, but they can shoot off the dribble a little bit. And Scotty looks to be one of those type of players.
Yeah.
And it just looks good. And also, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna buy the stock on some of these guys. OG Anunoby has been excellent. Pirtle has been great. Siakam was started off kind of rough, but he's been getting better. So
Dennis Schroeder has been really good for this team, and I will eat crow on that one because I was like, I've never really been a Dennis Schroeder fan, to be honest, and I thought that he was not really going to move the needle for this team, or I thought he was going to be like a severe downgrade from Fred VanVleet, and that's just not the case. It's been about the same production, if not better, from Schroeder. And
I was worried about him running into the same issues of Fred VanVleet.
Yeah,
but he
hasn't really happened. Yeah, Dennis has been good. Scotty's been great, like we said. OG, I think, has had a really good start to the season. I see him as a trade piece for a lot of teams.
I would give up some things for him.
He's on the last year of his deal. I think a lot of teams like the Sixers would be willing to really go after him. So yeah,
the Bucks would go after him.
Anybody.
Yeah.
If they said OG Anunoby is low but I don't think we have the assets to get him, but the Bucks would put an offer.
Yeah, so I'm buying.
Yeah, I'm buying heavy.
Buying as well. I don't know if their record will continue to stay where it is, but I think they'll be 500, and I think you're just going to see continuous improvement from their younger players. And also shout out Grady Dick. He's been good. He's been exactly what they've kind of needed off as a bench guy, just a movement shooter who's able to, catch and shoot and provide value there.
I actually think their record's going to stay around the same. They're at 500 right now.
Yeah. That's what I said. I think
which I don't think is bad because before the season, I thought they were going to be like a 35 win team. So if they're like a 41, 42 win team, I think that's like a win for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was expecting them to be worse than last year. And looking at it, I think they're going to be better. And
I think so too.
They've looked way better. The non-nurse offense looks a lot better with Scotty running the show. And Pascal's looked okay. And that's a big part of it is that I'm like, oh my God, they've looked this good. And Pascal has looked like out of shape, out of mind, one of the two. And I think once he locks back in, they'll stick right around 500. I do think Scotty started the year strong. I would be shocked if he kept up this production the whole year. But
especially the shooting production.
Yeah, I just want to be realistic, but I've been Team Scotty. I'm on Team Scotty. Point Scotty's here. Now we just gotta wait for Point Paulo, and then it'll all be good.
Except they got 4 guards who are all good. All right, Western Conference then is the Kings at 3-4, 1-game winning streak right now. I'm probably a hold on the Kings just because Fox is out right now. They have not been shooting well from 3, as good as they were last year. And I think their record and their game style has kind of reflected that. And also, one of the points that I pointed out when we talked about them in the Pacific Division preview was when you're a team that plays a lot of clutch games and you win almost every single one, you're almost certain to have regression there. It happens in every sport. When you play really close games all the time, you're not going to win the same amount like all the time.
Especially when your clutch player of the year is hurt.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's like
I'm gonna hold too. Like I was really high on this team, and the Fox injury I think just really sucks, and it throws a wrench into kind of any chance at some early season momentum with this group to kind of get back to what they had last year. So I'm gonna hold, wait for him to get back, and then make a decision at that point.
I will say they are very lucky that some of the other top projected teams in the West have also had some struggles because they could fall behind otherwise.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, back to the East. Orlando Magic 4-4. They're a 2-game losing streak right now.
Oh,
I'm gonna say hold as well.
I have a lot of stock in them already. So
yeah.
Buying would feel malpractice-y. Kind of feel like it's just setting
Yeah.
me up. I don't think it's so hard to say that they'll be a 500 team, but I think they're gonna be borderline playing team. Just hold.
I'm gonna buy, man. I think this team is looking good. That game against the Hawks last night was super, super fun. And they were this close to beating them. They were this close.
Yeah.
And Hawks offense has been great this season. And that's a real show of great defense from the Magic. Jalen
they're
Suggs.
They have elite defensive personnel. Jalen Suggs has been insane.
Jalen Suggs had a great shooting game last night. Anthony Black is already a pretty good defender for a rookie guard. He had a few possessions on Trey and DeJounte that I was like, damn, like that's hard to do as a rookie. So I'm buying on this team. I think they've I thought they'd be kind of good or hover around 500 maybe, but I actually think that they could be above that. So I'm buying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold.
Lack of bets. I don't want to.
Yeah. I think the shooting is still. I think they're winning in spite of some very glaring problems.
Yeah.
I think those could come to them.
Yeah.
Pelicans 4-4, 3-game losing streak right now.
They're already so injured. It's crazy.
Zion's been playing
as a core. I'm selling on this whole core. Maybe record wise they'll finish 500 or they'll finish around and they'll be they'll have the same issues the whole season. But
yeah,
fuck this roster, dude. I'm done. I don't want to watch Pelicans games anymore because it's like I feel like I've said enough about the Pelicans.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like we've talked about this team a lot, and the injuries are already
on this roster.
Who knows? The injuries are already starting to pile up, and it's like 3 weeks in. So I kind of thought the injuries would be here, and I didn't think they'd be that good anyway. So it's like I'm like, this isn't that surprising to me. It's just like it's still frustrating at the same time. So I'm probably gonna hold.
Yeah, as a basketball fan, it's so just disappointing.
Yeah. Zion hasn't even been that great this year. No. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'm selling all my Zion stock. I don't.
He's out. He's taking the long road. He said no.
Yeah.
He said I will be reinvesting. He said I'm taking the loss and I'm putting it in to the general NBA fund. Yeah, I agree. And it pisses me off because this team has way too many good role players for them to be this fucking ass. It's so annoying. Do you know how many teams would be the best team in the NBA if they had a Herb Jones, Larry Nance, role players coming off the bench for them?
Trey Murphy's hurt, but
Trey Murphy. Come on.
The issue on this team lies with the stars, and it lies with obviously the injuries, but it's also the mentality of them. Like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson have to be held accountable at some point, and they're great basketball players, but it's obvious when watching them that they lack intangibles.
Yeah,
and the GM has to find a player that has good intangibles that's not worse than them, because for instance CJ McCollum, he could be one of the better leaders in sports with great MBPA president, whatever you want to say. Yeah, he doesn't have the authority on the court to do shit because it's Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. It's like you got to trade one of the two guys that don't give a fuck about the sport.
Yeah. That's why I think as much as the injuries have plagued them, I also think that Willie Green is on the hot seat as a coach.
Yes.
And I think that David Griffin, has not done that great of a job managing the personalities in the roster.
No.
So
Well, the way David, I sound like such a hater, but I love Brandon Ingram. We saw my shooting guard or whatever rankings, right? Or was it small forward rankings?
or
I
yeah,
don't.
you had
I
you
had
had
him super. I had him super high. I
yeah
love Brandon Ingram. I love Zion's game, but it's like at some point they have to be professional. David Griffin and Willie Green need to stop kissing ass,
yep,
and
I agree.
like
It's just a bad
stop being yes
organization.
men. It's like they've let ever since Zion's got drafted, they've let him just walk over them as an organization, and like part of that is on them to teach him how to be a pro because he's getting drafted at 19 years old.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like I already said I said too much, but again, I'm just pissed off. I'm tired of it.
no,
It's
I
just
get it.
bad basketball.
Yeah.
Same.
It's
Bad management.
it's bad from top to bottom. It's like usually you can point out one rotten apple, but it's all poison. It's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. It's just been stupid. I don't even think Pelicans fans would say you're wrong for thinking that way. Oh my goodness. Okay. 7 seed, the Knicks, 4-4, 2-game win streak. I'm really conflicted on the Knicks. I think I'm gonna say I'm low key might sell on some of this because I think they are winning games that off of like they're literally winning games off of like hustle plays and just like
The tip of the way.
the offense looks horrible, like so ugly. Like I don't know what their numbers look like offensively, but the offense looks ugly.
Not good. It's
They
not
have
good.
no playmaking on this roster, and the defense is so up and down based on how their bigs are playing. Like if their bigs have an off game, it's just horrible, just bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
This Brunson Randall thing is just not it. Just not it.
Randall has sucked this year. There's
He's
no other
like
way to put it.
He had the worst like shooting start
uh,
of an NBA season ever.
Yeah.
again. Why are we surprised? It's the every other year Randall thing. Like,
Yep. I will. I'd probably buy in this team just because, like, if defense is your base, I think that's more sustainable and it's easier to build off that than if it were to be offense. Just because I think like high offensive teams are a bit more volatile than defensive minded teams. So I'd probably buy. Like, you really have to believe that Randall's shooting will get back to at least a league average.
Or
rate,
like a respectable level.
Or a respectable level, which it just hasn't been this season. So I'd probably buy. I just think that Tibbs is going to squeeze wins out of this team, even though it won't look pretty, and that's why I'm going to buy.
I agree.
I'm gonna buy, because RJ Barrett is playing very, very well.
Yeah,
and he has been my biggest question mark with this team when playing well. Obviously, Randall is a question mark every other night. Like, but Randall, he's been an All-NBA performer. That's not been the worry. RJ Barrett's development has been an issue. He looks like he's ready, and I have faith in Jalen Brunson and Randall bringing up their efficiency throughout the next 77 games or whatever, 75 games. And if RJ Barrett continues this, they'll be a top seed in the East for sure. So I'm gonna buy.
Yeah,
but kind of scared because the Julius Randle CTE hoops is because it's also because it's also the attitude. Some of the clips, dude.
Yeah. It's rough sometimes.
How long until he starts beefing with New York again?
I give it like not that long.
Yeah.
Not that long.
Yeah. All right. Next team is the Phoenix Suns at 4-4, 2-game win streak. Low key might be a sell for me.
Yeah.
Their role players have been shooting the ball so well, and it's been keeping them in games. And like, you are just not going to have sustainable shooting outputs from that. And I know that Beal and Booker have both been injured, but they just don't they don't have the stability of the team that I thought that they might be able to. I thought that they might be able to win games in the regular season because of the talent level, and hopefully you can get a little bit out of these guys enough to be a competent off defense and offense around Booker, Beal, and KD. But Nurkic had like a good game at the start of the season or two, and then been horrible, literally horrible ever since.
To the Nurk
Yeah,
experiment.
and guess what? People are victory lapping because I told him, I said this is not going to work out well, and then he had that one good game, and he's been bad ever since. Nobody's saying anything about it now.
Well, it's hilarious. They were victory lapping Aiton because Aiton had like 6 and like 2 his first game. And other than that, Aiton's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to see it like, I don't know. It's hard with this team. Before I like really make a firm stance, I want to see the 3 stars play like 6 games together and just see what that looks like, and then I can
clearly
more about it. But
injuries are going to be a problem this season.
Yeah, like it's,
and KD's going to get injured in January mostly. Like knock on wood, but like he gets hurt in January like every year.
Yeah. So and Beal, I don't know. Nurkic, you're right, has not looked good. I'd probably sell a little bit on this
that's
team.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I don't think they're. Yeah.
I think I'm selling some of my stock.
Yes, because we were all pretty high on him. I mean, on them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking. Beal's been struggling with a back injury, correct?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not a good sign.
Booker's is a foot, which is bad too, because like that just lingers.
I'm like, selling a little bit until I see Beal, because if that back is actually gonna fuck with him all year or for the rest of his career, this team isn't a contender.
Yeah,
it's just not. It's built on the fact that they're going to outscore and outpace some of these teams.
Yeah,
and then when Beal can't do that, and he can't move with a bad back, it's over.
Yeah, and then you already know, like what you said, Jeff. Like KD, like I don't, obviously, knock on wood, like we don't want this to happen, but KD, he'll probably just like sprain his calf, grade 1, grade 2, and be out for a month, and then they'll lose a lot of games. That just could happen, and it's happened the last like 3 years. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. It's like kind of a consensus. Sell a little bit, hold. If they get healthy, they'll be up swinging again.
Yep.
6 seed in the East, the Nets 4-4, 1-game win streak. I'm selling their current trend. I don't think they can keep this up. Like I don't know. I just don't think they're getting enough output out of the guys that they need to get output out of. Cam Thomas is, as much as it would be sick. You said Cam Thomas is going to miss some time, right?
He's out the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, it's just like you just can't believe that Cam Thomas is going to average like 28 points a game all year. Like he's just not.
That will tip.
And like
it'll zip a little bit. Like I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff. Like,
no,
I
mean
think
either.
that,
but like
it'll be like low 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah. Yep. Ben Simmons has just done nothing. It feels like
he's been good playmaking, rebounding, but the scoring is still not there. Like not even like.
No, it's
like nobody's expecting him to be a scorer, but like he's not even aggressive, like catching the ball in the paint. He just doesn't want to put the ball in the
he's
basket.
afraid. He's still afraid to get fouled. And that's just forever going to hold him back. I just don't really like the way he's been playing this season, and I had some like faith after preseason that he could start to be more aggressive, and it just hasn't happened. So, I don't know. I actually think I'd probably buy a tiny bit, just because I do think that when Cam Johnson gets back, it'll help things a little bit. And I overall am just optimistic that this team's offense and that their rhythm will just be better. But yeah, I honestly don't have a ton of thoughts about this team right away.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard too because Cam Johnson's missing time. Claxton's been missing time. Mikal has not been as good. as everyone was hoping. So that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna sell their trend, but I would probably buy on the improvement of some upswing on some of these players. Like I would buy in on McCall, Cam Johnson, Claxton.
Yeah.
But I would probably sell on the team as a whole.
That's
Because
fair.
I think they're 4-4. They're 500, but they're not a good 500. You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold. They're about what I expect from them.
Yeah.
I'm like I was high on this team for all the other reasons why they're like you said, they're not like Cam Johnson hasn't been playing, Claxton hasn't been playing, McCall's looked all right. I wouldn't say he's looked bad, but he hasn't.
No, I didn't say he just doesn't look as
Yeah,
what
you
thought
don't
he could.
like what you wanted him to look, but Cam Thomas looking like he can be a consistent scorer is so big for this team. I think when Johnson and Claxton come back, and I think they'll get into more of a flow, and they'll stick around 500. Those, because I agree, they're a 4-4, but the way they're playing, I feel they're not like some other 4-4 teams or other 500 teams out in the league right now. But
Yep,
just below 500, this hold, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's head back to the West. Rockets 4-3, 4-game winning streak. I'm buying.
I'm selling.
You're selling?
Yeah. Like
I'm buying.
It's yeah, they've got off to a good start of the season, and you can see the Ime effect for sure. But like they're 4-3, and their last 3 wins have come against the Lakers with no AD and the Kings twice with no Fox. So I don't know. I just don't
think if we're splitting it up kind of how we have, because you know what, we make our own rules here, obviously.
True.
I run the market. So, you know, if I'm probably going to buy on some of these players continuing to grow. Jabari looking more confident. Jalen hopefully looking more confident, being able to be more efficient. Dylan Brooks, I think, has really stabilized from what he was last year.
He's been good this season.
Yeah. One thing I will say about this team, do think it's funny how people try to convince themselves that Fred VanVleet was not part of the problem in Toronto last year, and it was just the team as a whole. Same issue this year. Inefficient, does not pass well, and takes bad shots a lot, and is not a great defender.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm going to buy on the development and sell on the winning trend, probably.
I can agree with that for sure. I'm really high on Jabari. I'm gonna continue to buy that stock whenever we talk about it.
You're high on a 6'10" switchable defender who's a sharpshooter.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people already are done with him because he didn't shoot great his first year.
For sure, it's literally like Jaden McDaniels. It's literally like the same player. like that's literally what you can literally picture the evolution of him into what Jaden McDaniels is now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's Jaden McDaniels with a little more offensive juice at like coming into the league.
Yeah.
If he continues to develop like Jaden McDaniels has.
Yeah.
Jabari's good.
Yeah. All right, we're going over to the East. The Bucks 5-3, 1-game losing streak, lost to the Pacers last night.
Bye.
I'd probably buy as well.
Giannis needs to bring those screens up about 2 feet, and then the world's gonna be over.
The high pick and roll.
And Brook Lopez needs to not be asked, and then we'll be fine.
We were also saying this before recording, but Matthias, did you see the clip of Beasley guarding the phantom screen against Halliburton?
I will say
one of the funniest moments I've like ever seen in a game.
If anybody watching doesn't know what we're talking about, it's Malik Beasley is guarding Tyrese in the fourth quarter, and he's like in his stance, and he's got good positioning actually. Tyrese like points to like at the ground next to Malik,
For a
and he
screen
thinks
to
a
come,
screen's
yeah.
coming, but nobody calls out a screen because there's no screen. So he just stands there, and Tyrese just like because Tyrese has like elite burst, so he's just like burns past him, and Malik is just sitting there in his stance with his hands out, and he gets past his arms, and he just turns his head, and he just starts walking the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't watching that game, but
It was a good game.
I pray to God for Malik Beasley that they were running switch, because the only way because there's not an excuse to just sit on a screen coming like that anyways.
Yeah, I know.
If someone points left, you are either jumping in front of it to force them away from the screen, or you're jumping around it to follow them. So it's like the only thing that's acceptable is that if you're running a switch and he was just waiting for the screen to come so he'd switch onto the big, and so he wasn't moving. But I have to rewatch that game, because if they weren't running switch at all,
they weren't running switch.
Just
they
like
weren't. Brooke was on the court. They weren't running switch.
He cannot be playing. Like, that's unacceptable. That's just bad. Like, oh no.
It makes me like, it's really bad, and it's also hilarious. It's just, it's so funny.
Yeah. No, the way you looked at it, it felt like a freeze.
All I'm gonna say is this team needs a defensive guard to break out. So it either needs to come trade, or Andre Jackson Jr. and Marjan need to be playing over Pat Connaughton and Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
Because Andre Jackson Jr. Dude, because just talking about this, the Bucks ran a lineup last night. It was Andre, Marjan, Giannis, and I forgot who I don't remember if it was Bobby or Jay Crowder. And like, it was so fun. Andre and Marjan were pressing the guards 95 feet, and they were trapping them at half court, and Andre was getting deflections and throwing it out to Giannis in transition, and Marjan was getting all over everybody, and Marjan is good.
Marjan is good. I feel like the Bucks just need to not stop complicating the offense. On offense, 2 to 3 people can touch the ball realistically, and you'll be fine. And like, I hate saying that because you want to promote ball movement, but you need the other 2 guys on the floor, Marjan and Andre Jackson, theoretically, if they're on the floor with Dame and Giannis, whatever. They just need to be there to just cause mayhem for the other team, to make life easier for Giannis and Dame so they don't gas out. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
and Chris Middleton's minute restriction has really restricted the ability for this offense to flow when those 2 guys not, because there's always like the really gross lineup of like all bench guys at like the end of the third, midway through the second, for like a couple minutes. But it's like, that's going to be Chris in there. Like, Chris is going to be in there with those guys. Yeah. So like, you really got to wait for Chris to get off his minutes restriction, and Chris has looked good. I don't care what anyone says. He is still a straight bucket getter. I do not care. He's a bucket getter, and he's been playmaking really well. So you got to wait for that. And then on defense, they just got to rebound better, and they have the personnel to rebound better. So I think it'll improve over the time. But I'm going to say trading for Dame has done what they wanted it to do. Their half-court offense is one of the best in the leagues, and I think it's the 3rd best in the NBA right now, half-court offense, which they have been like the 29th ranked half-court offense for the last like 3 years. So
and I think the coach will figure it out. I think also he's just tinkering with stuff. New coach, realistically, I'm sure I've said this, but new players, like, they just gotta test it. We'll see. Shout out Boss Man. He's been really good. The only thing that would make me sell on this team is I'm worried about the coach. Not because I don't think Griffin can't be a good coach in the league, but because it's a rookie coach.
Yeah.
That has to do with a lot of roster turnover and a lot of scheme turnover. So it's like,
Yeah. And one thing
I
I
don't
will
know.
say though, which makes me optimistic about it, he has been nothing but open to the ideas from the players and media and other coaches on the staff. He has said like, I'm not the smartest one in the room all the time. Like Dame and Giannis know what to do on the court.
Yeah,
Sometimes they can just call their own number and figure it out. And sometimes they know what to do better than me on both ends. And they've been running more drop, and it has helped a lot. They've been running a lot of zone, which I really like. It's been very good. I think they just need to target. I think they need to make one more trade, get a DeLon Wright, a Caruso, someone of that type of player to just be able to run a guard next to Dame who can really lock in on just defense.
yeah,
But yeah. All right. Back to the Western Conference. I saw kind of all unanimously agree Bucks is kind of a buy at their current form. And if the trend continues for more than I would say another 10 to 12 games, I'll probably get a little bit more worried. But
yeah,
back to the Western Conference, the Thunder, the 5 seed, 5-3, 2-game win streak. I'm gonna buy. I think they're only just gonna continue to get better. I don't know. Maybe I'll hold. I'm like in between hold and buy because I think this is about where I expected them to be. But
yeah,
I do think they have some ability to start dropping some games. So maybe I'll stay at a hold for them. I wasn't a
Yeah.
big stockholder on them to begin the season.
I feel similarly. I think they've been about what I've expected. And I think they'll kind of hover around this like same spot. Um, Obviously a big talking point with them has been Giddy so far this season, and him
Yeah.
not really being able to
It,
fit super well with the rest of
yeah.
the group. So I think there are things to monitor there, and like I think he could be the reason why they swing up and they start to break out a bit more if he kind of figures it out. So that's one thing to monitor. I think Shea has been really good as he always is. Chet has been a lot better than I thought he was going to be. So there are a lot of things to be optimistic of, but at the same time, I think a lot of people had this team being good and being competitive. So I just think it's a hold.
yeah. One of those things where it's a hold. I we expected a jump with Shea and all this young talent, but they still don't have vets. And I've said it with this team. I will never. I'm not gonna think they're gonna continue to improve and win without vets. But they have enough young talent that I think they'll stick around 500, maybe a little over it with what they have. So hold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think people are just trying. I think people got a little bit too excited about them last year and put some stuff out there with this team that I just didn't expect to like. They weren't going to be a fit. Like they're not going to be a 50-win team.
that's what I was always saying.
No.
Like people we know are like 50 wins, top
No.
4 seed, book it. And I was just like, you know how hard it is to win 50 games, let alone like 45, let alone like 40 when you're a team as young as them. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter like if you have a superstar like Shea, like that's really hard to do in the West when you're
Yeah.
playing the teams you're playing as often as you're playing them. So
Yeah.
Unless Chet is the next best, like off, like one of the like another like soup is if he's a generational center like he's looked so far this season.
yeah.
I don't see them being anywhere close to that.
And
Yeah.
even then, you could expect his 3-point shooting to kind of regress to the
Isn't
mean.
he shooting like 50%?
He's shooting like
Yeah.
60, 50, 80
He-
or
he's
something stupid
his
right now.
percentages are not sustainable.
No, not at all.
And not like that's the reason they're winning necessarily, but that's just like
Yeah.
one thing that you can expect to kind of slow down. So I don't know.
He's shooting 58, 56, 90 right now.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna dip, but I still think his production's gonna be. He'll still
Yeah.
produce, but
For sure. Yeah, I'm holding. I'm gonna buy on a couple of their players though to continue to get better. Buying Chet from where he was. Already was high on him, obviously, because who wasn't? And then Cason Wallace also, I think, is a good buy player. He's been really good. And
Yeah.
knowing how the Thunder operate, if you're a rookie and you're playing over the guys that they've drafted the last few years, you're trending in a good place.
Yeah. He is also someone shooting absurd numbers. He is oh my god, that dude, Thunder rookies, they find a way. They just
yeah. Well, when you have 3 picks every year for 5 years, it's
but they go like 2 of 2 or 3 of
I
3
know.
like every year it feels like.
All right, Atlanta Hawks, 5-3, 1-game winning streak. How are we feeling about it? I'm probably holding. I'm probably holding. This is about what I thought they would be.
I thought that'd be good for sure, but I think they can get even better than this. I think
they can too.
I think Trey is starting to figure a lot of things out. He had a great game last night. Second half not as much, but the first half he was dominant against the Magic.
Can we pause a sec?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up? Okay. Well, we had to take a brief intermission there due to some technical difficulties. So we'll resume. We're talking about the Hawks. I believe we were talking about how Trae Young had a really good game yesterday. He's been figuring it out more on the offensive end. He had a really bad efficiency start to the season, and people are like, oh, no, this is happening again. But he looked good yesterday, and hopefully he can continue that trend to be a little bit more consistent scoring the ball, not relying on the free throws as much. The passing's still been there. DeJounte Murray has looked 100 times better than he did last season.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks really
Clint
good.
Capella looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Jalen Johnson is really good too.
Yes.
That three-pointer.
Go watch my all NBA breakout video. I'm pasting this right now. It's like a 30-minute video. Go watch it. Every single person I fucking put on there has had a good ass season this year. Other than a few, but almost all of them have had a good ass season this year.
That Jalen Johnson 3-pointer has been like on the money this year, and that's huge for him. Like I remember when we had Cam on like a while back, and we asked him like who's going to start at the 4. Is it going to be Jalen Johnson or AJ Griffin? And I think he was like, it just depends on whoever shoots better. And Jalen Johnson is playing defense, getting to the rim, and shooting 40%
and playmaking.
He is damn good. So
very good.
I really like this Hawks team, man. I thought they were going to be good, and I think they're going to be even better than they are now. So bye.
Yeah, I'm buying. And I was already super high on them. Yeah, they're doing other than Trey, who struggled with kind of the same issues as last year as a roster. I feel like the issues they had last year are not really there to the same extent. I feel a lot more comfortable with their consistency, and I think they're going to be a top seed in the East. Like they'll be top 6 easy throughout the whole year,
easily.
They'll be top 5 probably.
Yeah.
I could see them also being, depending how this Cavs stuff goes, I could see them being top 4. I could very see a top 4 of Sixers, Celtics, Bucks, Hawks, then Cavs right under them.
Yeah.
I think depending on how it goes. Back to the West. Warriors 6-3, 1-game losing streak right now. I'm conflicted because they have looked good and Chris Paul has seemed to have done what he is brought there to do, but there is no consistent offensive option outside of Steph Curry right now. Is it like
that
no
is
one
why
has,
I am selling?
I don't know if it has happened yet, but like it was like no one outside of Steph has like scored 20 this season or something like that.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Clay has been fine, but Wiggins has been really bad.
Yeah.
Like Wiggins has gotten off to just a horrendous start to the season, and you can feel that kind of void in the offense and the defense, obviously, as well. So I would probably sell a bit on this team.
Me too.
I think that they've gotten off to a good start, which is good for them. The Chris Paul thing has been working out, but I don't know. I just don't love this. I don't love this team over this long season. I think there are going to be points where they start to break down, and when they just don't get the offense they've been needing. Even Draymond on offense, I don't think has been that great this season either. So
and they're old. Like
They're old. Yep.
they already don't have a lot of depth, and their depth is old, so that
Yeah.
becomes an issue.
And
Arch has been playing well for them.
And they've
Yeah,
played
true.
close games.
Yep.
Like they've had what 2-game winners now?
The Klay
But Steph
Thompson
had,
game winner and Steph, right?
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
Steph missed that one against the Nuggets the other night.
True.
yeah, they've been in a lot of close games. It's like you said, Jeff. You're not gonna continue to win those. You're gonna continue to win 2 out of 3 1-point games for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's just not realistic.
Yeah, it seems like they're switching from not being a horrible road team to possibly being the road problem. Maybe will be a clutch game problem this year.
It's just weird. Obviously, like Steph is their only good source of offense, and even then, even if he is your only source of offense, like that's still pretty good because Steph is just so incredible. But
yeah,
he's also aging. I think he's 35, and the last few seasons he's missed some significant time for stretches of the year. So obviously injuries is a thing for every team, but there are teams that you have to take injuries into consideration more for, and I think this is one of those teams, especially if your star player is the one that's injury prone and your only consistent source of offense is injury prone. I don't know. I just think it's a bit like, yeah, I think it could start to turn bad pretty fast over there. So I'm selling.
Yeah, they're one Steph tweak ankle away from a Grizzlies like run, 1-7 run.
Yeah,
I agree. I'd probably sell a little bit of their stock, but I think I wouldn't empty out the hold on it. I think I would keep some because I think there is room for some growth there.
That I can agree with. There's definitely rooms on both sides.
For sure. All right, Pacers 6-3, 3-game win streak.
In terms of the season, I am selling, but players
selling
like in future, I'm buying.
I'm probably going to sell their stock. They're just not going to shoot like this the whole year. It's just not going to happen. I think their offense will continue to be great, but you are not going to have this many people shooting 40 plus from three.
No.
You're not going to continue to do that.
Yeah,
and that's literally the only reason they're in games, because their defense is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, I don't want to do it just because I think it's fun that this team is good to start.
Oh, they're a fun team. They're a fun team.
But I probably also will sell. Yeah, their shooting has been insane. Like when you've got Jalen Smith having the shooting season he's having, it's kind of like, okay, like no disrespect, but like it's like, okay, yeah.
Hey, Jalen Smith's been playing good everywhere though. He's looked like he's actually finally developed.
That's true. I thought he was going to be really good last year, and he was not. But
same.
Yeah, I don't know. The shooting will slow down, and the offense just can't be this good forever.
Yeah, they are averaging 126 points per game right now.
Yeah, come on.
That's just they're shooting 38% from three as a team right now.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
Definitely selling.
It's definitely not. And their scoring outside of 3-point territory has not been great overall. Very up and down. So, yeah, I'll probably sell them for the season. I don't think they'll continue to be this good. I think that defensive lapses are going to catch up to them, and I don't think the offense is sustainable enough. And I don't really think the defense has much to grow.
Yep,
agreed.
They just don't have the personnel for it. Timberwolves 5-2, 4-game win streak. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's time. I was 1 year early. I said top 3 seed last season. It's this season. It's going to happen. This team is too good, and people lied to themselves about this team. Because it is Minnesota, and because Minnesota usually does Minnesota things, they lied to themselves about the top end talent and the supporting cast around that talent on this team. I'll let you, if you want to talk about them, Ryan. But
yeah, I didn't talk about them last episode because I was like, I was on the fence a little bit still, but now I'm completely swept up in this team. They're better than I thought they were going to be, and I thought they were going to be pretty good. right now, it's if depending on the way you want to look at things, like this team has
Sorry.
arguably been the second best team in the West this season behind Denver.
Yes,
And
they have been.
I think this team has Western Conference Finals potential in them. And that's with Cat having a slow start to the season, and shooting like way under what he normally is. And that's with like, new additions on the bench still trying to find their role too. And Nikhil Alexander-Walker having a slow shooting season. I just think that this team has more upside than what they're at right now. And right now, as their baseline, it's already a very good team.
Yeah,
obviously the defense is just
it's special.
it's one of the best defenses that it's small sample size. Yeah, we've only played 7 games, but the Timberwolves defense is one of the best defenses I've seen in the last few years, as far as just like personnel and scheme and execution of that scheme. Like having Gobert and McDaniels and Ant is just a terrifying defensive trio. And then you've got guys like Mike Conley, who even though he's aging, he can still stay in front of people. Kyle Anderson has been a really good defender this season. Even Cat, who has been really bad on offense, has had his best defensive season so far by a mile.
Him as a help side defender has been very
really
positive.
good. Naz Reid has been really good so far as a defender, which has usually never been something he's done either. Mm-hmm. I'm just buying on this team. Kind of like what I said for the Knicks. If defense is what your identity is, that is way more of a sustainable baseline than if you were a team like the Pacers right now, and where it's like offense, because it's a make or miss league, and you'll go on weeks where you make shots and you'll go on weeks where you miss shots. And I don't think the Timberwolves have to worry about that as much, because the defense is just going to be a constant with this team. And that's just how it is. Like, this team is going to be an elite defense, and I think the offense has real upside to it. So to me, that's just that all adds up to being a buy.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm buying 100%.
And I still think they have places. Yeah,
they have places to grow 100%, because they're doing this, and like you bring up the point where the shooting, when you rely on the defense, you don't have to necessarily rely on your scores. They're winning with their second best offensive player playing like ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Karl-Anthony Towns has not looked like he knows what to do on the floor still. Like, he's still uncomfortable with the Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert tandem. Like, he is. So, and they still look like they're the second best team in the West. If he can just figure it out, I 100% could see a conference finals ceiling for this team.
Yeah, it's with Cat right now. It's his confidence, in my opinion. It looks like he's in a mental battle against himself, where he's second guessing things and is so afraid of messing things up on offense, where he will just play himself out of the game a lot of times, which is sad to see. And he needs to be better for sure. But I think with time, with just more reps with his team, I think he's going to figure out how to find his own offense and how to dominate his one-on-one matchups again. And then if that's happening, I just like, then you're looking at like number 1 defense in the league, and then top 10 offense, which is a recipe for really good things to come.
Exactly.
So yeah, this start to the season has surprised me, and obviously I've been super high on this team because they're my favorite team. So yeah, really good start to the year.
Yeah, I agree. Also, shout out Mike Conley. One turnover in 7 games.
Yeah, his assist to turnover ratio is 30-1 right now.
Sick.
Yeah.
Hey,
awesome.
I said he was up there in those point guard rankings for who you want on your team if you just need a stability, and people were not agreeing completely. But
do you remember in the space, like when we were having
they said D'Lo
D'Lo versus Mike Conley talks, and I was like, guys, it's Mike Conley and it's not close. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, nah, that's crazy. You're
I said the same
blinded. I'm
thing.
like,
I was agreeing with you. I was
I
right
don't
there
know.
with you.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. Mike Conley's pretty good.
He is pretty good. Next team. Oh shoot, I lost my tab.
Over to the East.
Yeah.
East.
Sorry, I lost my tab with all of my teams on it. I accidentally searched something up for whatever reason. Celtics 2 seed 5-2, 2-game losing streak. Play tonight.
Hold.
I'm
Yeah.
holding as well. They're playing the Nets.
It's what I expect. The redundancy is there, but they have so much talent.
Yep.
They do have some stuff on offense to figure out. It's a little clunky. The defense has been okay to good, depending on the stretches.
Yeah.
They are
The
clearly
offense-
lacking playmaking, like a
That's
really
the
stable playmaker.
That's
Because
the thing.
That's just
I want
expected,
to say this with Drew Holiday. He is a positive playmaker in the grand scheme of the NBA, but he is not the type of playmaker you need when you have a ton of shot creators. He is not a stable playmaker, if that makes sense. He has tendencies to get a little bit erratic and at times of the game, and that provides problems.
For instance,
and Derek White is not a stable playmaker either.
For instance, we can use Mike Conley that we just talked about as an example.
Yeah.
He's the definition of a stable playmaker. He's great for someone who's erratic offensively, like Cat, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Gobert. Like even though Cat and Anthony Edwards, just like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are great offensive players, they're super erratic. And Drew is not someone that's going to stabilize those.
It's not
5 minute, those
it's not
5
the
minute,
same.
just like weird
quite the same.
offensive stints you see in those playoffs.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Drew, we talked about Drew fits it. It's the CTE Celtics ball. Drew does the same thing. He gets sped up.
Yeah, I agree. I would just hold it for now. I do think if injuries, with Derek White missing those 2 games for the birth of his kid, right?
Yep.
If there's some injuries that pile up, there's going to be some serious problems. Like they are.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think the injuries really have to pile up. I think if there's 1 or 2, there could be some problems, especially if.
And that's the gamble they made when they only put 6 functional rotational players on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go back to the West. Mavs 6-2, 1-game losing streak. I think I would.
I'm selling.
Sell.
Yeah, they've been in a lot of close games. Like that's been a theme that we've kind of talked about with these teams. They've been in a lot of close games, and they've been winning a lot of close games. Luka's shooting has been way higher than average so far. They are an injury risk team, and a lot of their wins haven't come against good teams either. Like they've been winning against the Spurs, for example, or the Nets. It's like, okay, yeah, and they're barely winning against those teams too. So like they've started off better than I thought they would for sure, but I don't think this is going to be a long-term thing. Maybe they won't miss the play-in like I projected them to. Maybe they'll still be in that range, a little bit higher than I projected, but I don't know. You guys know I don't like this team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I agree with everything you're saying. I will say I think they're probably come down to earth a little bit with the shooting, but I have seen enough positives from the pieces that they have put around Kyrie and Luka that I feel like they are going to be in that middle tier playoff teams.
I don't want to. Okay, I'll to speak positively about them for a little bit. Like
he's kind of like forced himself to do it.
Grant Williams has been great for them. Derek Lively has been fantastic for them.
Yes.
He's the best center on the roster by far.
Yeah. And that's without Kyrie being that great to start the season too. So his production could swing up.
Kyrie's been injured, and his efficiency's been terrible.
Yeah. There are reasons to be optimistic, but I am still a bit low on this team, so I'd sell a bit.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
sell just because I don't think their winning is sustainable. But I don't think you'll see as drastic as a drop off as some may expect.
Yeah.
Back to
It's
the
one of those things
East.
like,
Oh, you got
oh,
another thing?
sorry. We didn't like really come in with like our stocks right now, but we were all pretty low on the Mavs in our preseason rankings. So I guess
Yeah,
I
I think I was
technically
probably the
buy.
highest of you of us three,
Yeah,
probably.
I think I had them like borderline playing, like missing the play, and it's like from that, like I have to buy stocks. Like Kyrie looks like he's not
If
even
I'm
like really
buying,
playing. He's not playing well, and they're
yeah,
already like
if
solid.
I'm going for my personal stock pool on teams, I'm buying from where I thought they would be. But I'm probably selling their trend.
Yeah,
For
they're
going
not
off
gonna
of
win
market.
every six if in 8 games.
In
They're
my
not gonna win 6 games.
portfolio, I'm buying, but the market I would sell. What's
Agreed.
going on in the market? Back to the East, then the first seed, the Philadelphia 76ers, 6-1, 6-game win streak since losing the opening night to Milwaukee. I don't know how to feel. I probably hold for now because you just got to see how this offense stays with Kelly Oubre, Tobias, Maxey. You need a little bit more time to see if this is the sustainable offense we're getting from their top three guys. Then I'd probably say that they're going to continue on this pace. But if not,
there was especially with their offense with James Harden, like obviously being traded and sitting out. There's some jumps that we've seen in Maxey and in Embiid's play, and Harrison, Oubre's like you said, they're all overperforming. It feels like right now in different aspects of the game. So I agree. I want to hold. I want to give them 20 games before I say anything. See if Maxey is really like a number 2 option.
Yep.
Like on a contender, because first 6-7 games he has been, and then see if Oubre is doing this. Because all I'm gonna say is that I was a big person saying that Oubre just like didn't really belong on a team. I didn't really think he was that good of a free agent. I thought he was a no and D player, like but I was proven wrong. So I don't know how to feel about this Philadelphia team. I was low on them, so I guess I'm gonna buy, but I want to. It's still so early.
Yeah, I get it. I think we could say they've surprised us all, especially getting rid of Harden. They've surprised us all because I kind of thought this team would be around like 5 to 6, maybe 4, and right now they're number 1, and they don't look like they're slowing down much at all. You can really feel that there's a chemistry with this group, and that like just vibes are high over there in Philadelphia, which again I didn't really think would be the case. Embiid has been unstoppable as he always is. Maxey's been super good. Tobias Harris has been underratedly good this season. Oubre has been great, like we've mentioned. I'd probably hold only because I don't really have much reason to believe they'll fall off for any reason. This might just be who they are, a really good team. That being said, I don't know what avenue they have to be better. So I can't really buy or sell. I can't really buy or sell with this team. I just think they're going to be good, and I'm going to kind of stay where I'm at. I think this team is definitely a trade potential team to buy. Like Morey,
they want another star.
Morey is going to want to buy for this team and add another star. So I think Zach LaVine just makes sense. I think OG Anunoby makes sense. A player kind of on that level of impact. So that could improve this team potentially. But overall, from right now, I'm going to hold my stock in this team.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say I'd hold, see how their offense continues to trend. But they play against the Pistons tonight, so they're probably going to whoop their ass. So I say that. Last team is the Nuggets, 8-1, 4-game win streak. Hold. We all said they were going to be the best team. They are the best team. Payne Watson the bench guys look good so far. Whether they continue that will be, I think, if we were to revisit this in 2 months or even a month, I would say the only way that your opinion on them could really change is, well, one, Jamal Murray is now hurt. He's going to miss time. And then two, do the bench players and the young players, the rookies, the second-year players continue to do what they're doing? If they do, then that's great and dandy. But if they do not, then there could be some trends in other ways.
Yeah.
I'm really iffy on this because if their bench players keep playing like this, it's a repeat of last year. Denver's top 1 in the league, and it's not close. Like personally, I was really low on Braun and Watson and just coming in and filling the bench roles. I really didn't think they were going to do it, and they have really well so far, which is very scary. In terms of record, though, Jamal Murray out kind of makes me want to sell a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they will lose games without him. That's just the fact.
Yeah. Speaking of the depth, I think Murray being out will be an interesting test for a lot of the bench.
Sure.
To see like, okay, how legit are you guys? Because if they can kind of as a unit, like the young bench guys, like Brown and Strother and Watson, if they can kind of collectively fill in for a lot of Murray's, like absence,
production,
whatever. I think that would be a huge sign of like, okay, this bench is actually like really good and potentially like playoff impact good.
Yeah.
So
if they don't struggle, if the bench steps up in Jamal Murray's absence, I'm buying everything, and I really don't think there would be a better team than Denver this year again.
Yeah, and Jokic too. Like I know it's like I don't even. That man is
got better, dude.
He got better somehow, and that's weird. That's crazy. Like his mid.
I don't think it's necessarily they got better because his statistics are. I think he's just being more aggressive scoring the basketball.
But like his efficiency has gone up from like every level, and that's what's like.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
How on earth?
His floater, he's shooting like 77% from floater right now.
77% from floater range, and then like high 60s from mid range. It's like, come on. And 39%.
I saw.
It's so dumb.
He was shooting like 25+% higher than second in the league at floater. Like it's like some of the shot making he has is just it's insane, and he doesn't shoot the ball. I feel like he could show up, play 3 quarters, drop 40 and 15 every night if you wanted to. He's so good.
Yeah, I heard a stat on Brian Windhorst in the Hoop Collective podcast this morning that said so far in their like 8 games or whatever, Jokic has had a 20-10 game in every single one of them, and that's like the longest streak of any player ever, or any player since the merger, that is, in '76. But it's just crazy. Like I saw another tweet that said the way that you defend Jokic is that you hope Aaron Gordon misses his jump shots, and I was like, that is kind of a hope. Like that is really the only way you defend him.
Yeah, or have a generational roamer.
Yeah,
like Giannis. Like you have to have like a Giannis and Brook duo where it's like you have a elite rim protector, straight up rim protector, and you have an elite roamer who can take up space and get in passing lanes. Because the Nuggets are good because of how well they work the cutting lanes, and then that results in them being able to shoot threes.
But they're also so good at using decoy actions to make roamers obsolete. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's a Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray
put Rui on. Yeah, put Rui on Jokic and let AD roam. Made AD just like useless. You know what I mean? Because they have so many dummy actions.
I'm curious to see how things do look when Reggie Jackson is the starting point guard. If Reggie is going to start, because I don't think teams are
Yeah.
going to respect him nearly as much, obviously, as Jamal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, but then Nuggets are just good, man.
yeah,
Cool.
just a good team. Not much to say. It's the same thing as last year, really. The defense has been a lot better, though. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. All 30 teams talked about in one episode. There we
That's
go.
impressive.
Yep.
I actually like it.
Yeah. So everybody got something. But with that being said, I think we're wrapping up here then. I said at the beginning of the episode, but we'll say it again. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching the whole thing through. Leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. Check out all of our socials, all that good stuff. And peace out.
Peace.